What's a good words? Hey, what was that? What's good, chat? I'm lagging physically. Happy Tuesday, December 29th, 2020. A little bit chilly out here in Central Texas, although I'm sure many of you would laugh at what I call chilly, but maybe it's just that I had the air blasting in here and now I'm like freezing and all that good stuff, man. Man, we are live. How we doing, chat? We sound good. Mike is all good. It's always ironing out technical difficulties to start stream. But shout out to you guys that are already in chat. Sergio, Brian Reagan says, I have yet to win a dime in NBA so far this year, which is crazy. I need lineup advice badly. So I have found that a lot of times when people think they need lineup advice, perhaps you also maybe need a little bit more of contest selection advice. And maybe I'll talk about some examples that, especially for me last night, I'll show one egregious example. But yeah, like I've been in DMs this morning. Some people, they come at me and they're talking about, I play 5-10 lineups a day, not really seeing results. But those 5 or 10 lineups are in the 100K to first, right? Where you got to beat 100 to 400K entries. If you're gonna limit yourself lineup wise, focus on some of the smaller stuff. So if you're not seeing immediate results in terms of ROI, maybe focus on contest selection a little bit first, right? Philly Shizzy, what's up, dude? Josh Redfoot, congrats on the takedown. I appreciate that. Stevie Mooring, what's up, Stevie? Sway McDunda says, I had my cash line get destroyed by Morant. I had 50% John Morant last night. I was with y'all. He was one of my favorite plays, points per dollar. I got hurt. What are you gonna do? What up, Chris Tom? Congrats. Haven't played FanDuel, so I didn't know you won. Yeah, I had a little win. A little win. FanDuel is easier to make lineups, at least I think so. I think FanDuel is easier to multi-entry, in my opinion. And I've always kind of felt that way. It's just in recent years past, they didn't offer late swap, so I just kind of played more on DK, but I've always had a higher level of success on FanDuel. Screw you, Jeff. Yeah, Jeff. What up, Justin Sports? Jason, Celia, Chris Gonzalez. What's up, guys, man? Good afternoon to all of you guys. Last night, pretty crazy slate. What do we talk about first? Do we talk about scores or do we talk about the bink? Let's talk about scores. Actually, maybe get Raj in here, huh? Get Raj in here. Let me open up my stream. Raj is deafened in the Discord. I'm going to drag him in here, so it might be a minute till he realizes he's live on the air. But yeah, yesterday one of those medium-sized slates, and those have always kind of been my wheelhouse because it's kind of easier to control the information versus a 12-13 game slate, even 10 game slate. When there's so much going on, it's hard to really focus, but 5 or 6 game slates, you can kind of really stay on top of everything and make the strongest decisions, and that was the case yesterday. Nikola Jokic, 72.5 fantasy points yesterday. Karis LeVert, 60.5. These were two of my highest owned guys, part of my core. Then Harden's up there. LeBron was there. It would have been like a really fun pivot, but at the end of the day, you didn't really need him. So yeah, Mike Conley, I think, was the stunner of the day. I kind of got a little bit lucky with having a little Conley. He wasn't on my radar at first, but point guard on FanDuel was so shallow that I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll put Conley in here and hope for 25-35. But he absolutely snapped, and that's what really won money last night. CJ McCollum, Dame Lillard, are they just going to coexist for 50? Is this going to happen? J-Val, Dylan Brooks, the net stack got there. I didn't really have Kyle Anderson, but after John Morant went down, it was kind of a team effort. Dylan Brooks was far too cheap on FanDuel. I think he was like 70% owned. Fantastic play. Those were your big hitters of the night. Everything else was just kind of obvious, the Detroit guys. Maybe Killian Hayes got there late. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the bank. If you guys are just tuning in, last night actually won the $9 on FanDuel, $15K to first. And there's Raj. And then it was also fourth in the 100K to first. But there was kind of a dupe train. So we actually were able to win this $9 by 7 points. And that lineup was not this one. It's this one on the right. It was Killian Hayes, who kind of got there late. First half was really rough. 35% owned. Mike Conley, like I said, I just got lucky points needed a mid-tier salary guy. Stuffed him in there late. He was probably my lowest owned point guard, too, and it just worked out, right? Dylan Brooks was 54% owned in this contest, 42 fantasy points, 55% owned James Harden. Then we had Jeremy Grant, Karis LeVert, two of my highest owned small forwards, did their thing. Brandon Clark got me to 30. I was happy about that. Christian Wood did it, and then Jokic did it, 69.4 FanDuel points. So that was good enough to ship 15K here. It was tied for a 8 duplicate train on the 100K to first, which was fourth place. It's kind of sick that I believe it was 3 to 4 fantasy points from 100K, and it was a 2v2 of, I think it was Bojan Bogdanovic over Brandon Clark for a couple points, and then oh man, who was it over Jeremy Grant? It was somebody over Jeremy Grant for a couple points, but it was literally 4 fantasy points. But the difference between 100K, 4 fantasy points in fourth place, 100K and 3K. So, like, I'm not salty to win 3K, but that, as I alluded to at the top of the stream, that's the difference. And like that lineup was worth 15K in this contest, but just 3K in a contest versus hundreds of thousands of entries. So contest selection on a limited bankroll and limited amount of lineups is so key to really draw dividends. And I know when you look at some of these names here in the $9, I mean, these are heavy hitter big boys. They can be intimidating. Like, these are the best in the business, right? Chipotle, Petey, Osmo, Giant Squid. Like, these guys know what they're doing. But man, I'd rather face 9,900 lineups versus over 100,000 entries. So it is what it is. But I appreciate you guys that showed love on Twitter. You guys were sweating in the Discord. We had a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll get some more sweats like that coming soon. You're Raj?
Yeah, buddy. We in the building.
How we doing?
Another day, another grind. Trying to, off the group bank yesterday. Usually after bank, the next day isn't the greatest, but we're going to change that today. Maybe even get a bigger bank.
Hopefully. Yeah. Usually I don't curtain call the best. The best for when after I bink. Usually I like follow with a disaster, especially if it's like bigger slate, which is what this is. But hey, what are you gonna do? Live chat. You guys walking in late, man. Hopefully you guys are having a good Tuesday afternoon. Michael Baker, who is Jeff? So Jeff is kind of like a running gag. Yesterday, some cat named Jeff, which I think in retrospect, I think he was talking trash to Chronic, right? But the irony there is Chronic won a GPP on DraftKings last night. So whoever Jeff was talking to, it fired both of us up to go out there and win a tournament. Jason Michael Baker. What up, Mike? What up? I got lucky with Conley, too. Yeah, it was just kind of a price play, right? Thoughts on Doug McDermott or Justin Holiday? I don't have them in my short list. I don't know if news came out while I've been on the air. But I mean, that seems like high volatile plays, right? All the obvious value on FanDuel went off. If you didn't play Morant, you were good. Yeah. I mean, and that's an injury. It happens, right? I will no longer take any more Kyle Anderson slander. How do you get tickets?
I mentioned Kyle Anderson on the pod yesterday. He did kind of get lucky with John Morant injury, but he still a good play.
Yeah, it's a couple of strong games out of him, and I think Jaw's going to miss some time. So that Grizzlies stack is going to probably rise to the top of some.
You already know DK's going to price Kyle Anderson at 7K though. So,
how many lineups did you enter? I did 50 lineups, and that's the other thing. Like, I'm not pretending like this was one lineup. I did 50 lineups. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, if you're a 5 to 10 lineup person, there are some contests out there that give you limited amount of, even if so there's 20 and 25 entries. Even if you're not doing the full 20-25, it's still something I would think about going against that instead of going against the smartest people in the fantasy world with 150 versus 100 and 400K entries, right? How many? Gobert's 10% owned for me over Wood and Jokic's fade heart. Man, Jokic is so good. Jokic. Anderson and Brooks were already looking to be great plays before Morant got hurt. Yeah, it is what it is. Actually, I think Kyle Anderson was the guy over Michael Porter that got me a couple points, right? I'm sipping on a purple smoothie today. Very tasty. So if my lips turn purple, my tongue is purple. I learned that like blue lips is a symptom of COVID. Don't be alarmed. Hopefully, I'm just drinking a drink. Raj, how's the weather in Canada?
It's actually the sun's out today. The sun has made an appearance today after a couple days of being in the freezing range. The weather is, I mean, it's still -1. So I mean Fahrenheit, it's 30 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
But the sun's out. So
That's so good. Celsius is still new to me. It's still -1, but it's all right. I'm like,
yeah, the sun's out. We still have a couple of my friends still wear shorts in these days.
Yeah, I'm wearing shorts right now. It's kind of cold. Chat, we're going to jump into today's slate. Before we do that, I want to make a pause for the cause. Plug the RunDFS.com VIP section, the benefits. If you guys enjoy the streams, enjoy the content, you want to support the streams and content, go above and beyond, get a little something in return. This whole channel is brought to you by RunDFS.com. That's the place where we don't just play DFS. We run DFS. If you guys go over there, make yourself an account, you can find some premium pass options that will allow you access to the premium Discord 24/7 text chat every day before main slate lock. I'm in there for 2 hours at least, chopping up plays, digesting and reacting to news, and creating my player pool. I actually put my whole player pool for both sites in the spreadsheet. Again, this is something that I don't think you guys have to follow and tail, but if you guys, respect my ideas enough to be like, okay, what's he doing here? What's he doing here? All right, maybe I'll just switch it up and be different there too as well. I also have my player projections, minute projections for and fantasy point projections for DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo, Index Portal, just kind of an easy to read, easy way to digest the slate, color coded for simplistic purposes. And like I said, that Discord is where it's at. So many sharp minds at all different bankroll levels and sites. Yeah, I won 15K, whoop-de-doo, a couple weeks ago. Always be placing Binked the Millie Maker. I'm the millionaire maker. He won $1 million. We've got a couple 100K winners, Jake, Adine, and then we got cats out here grinding.
And he won like 100K the week before he won the millie, and it took down a couple showdowns after he won the millie.
He had like the most insane week I've ever seen in fantasy sport. It was multi-sport too. He like Bing golf, GPP. It was nuts. And then we even got cats in here sharking League of Legends and tournaments, man. It's nuts. It's a beautiful community. All different ages, shapes, sizes, cultures. I don't think there's anywhere else in the world where I can sit down with we got a fish, right? Older Jewish guy, younger dudes from Jersey, guys all the way in Utah, girls in the mix as well. It's just like this is a group of people that you would just not walk into a bar see sitting at the same table, right? And it's a beautiful thing. So if you guys want to come be part of that, you're more than welcome to. Get in that RunDFS.com VIP Discord, chat it up, and then every day before lock, we'll have the pre-lock voice chat. You don't even have to join it, right? You can just listen in. But if you want, grab a mic, make some friends, and just make some more friends in the community. And I think that's really, really big to be planted into a community that is grinding what you're grinding and understands what you're looking for in terms of news and stuff like that. And you work together and you want to see everyone succeed. No jealousy here, right? Let's dip into the slate. Big time slate. We've already got some pieces of news floating out. As always, I am live at a hot mic, so I can't see everything that's dropping. I'll try to, but if you guys see some news that gets dropped in the middle of the stream, let me know. We'll try and react to it as it comes out, right? Jim says, how many lines you doing today on FanDuel Gun? Probably another 50. 50's been so nice to me. If you do 150, but the way contests are so top heavy and you don't always get like 2x min cash and the rake is usually like up there. If you do a strong 50, I think I think it's been working for me. I'll say that. Like I don't think there's a must play singular way, but for me, 50's been working. It just kind of neutralizes the EV because 150. When you put 150, a lot of times one lineup has to finish like top 8 just to kind of offset the entry fees, right? Don't play GPP if you can't max out. Already at a disadvantage. I don't think that's. The idea behind that is there, but like I don't think that's wholly true. I mean, we see single bullets win a lot. It's just the expectation should be lower. I think you want to give your dollar the highest EV possible. If you're playing for money, if you're playing for fun, go chase a million, 100K all day, and that's completely okay to play this for fun and entertainment. But if you're really trying to grind a bankroll, if you've ever grinded poker, you wouldn't take $20 to a no limit table and expect to live long, right? Kind of the same.
I did that all the time. The Sunday Million.
Okay, buddy.
Every week during college.
Yeah.
Good times.
What's the Discord link? It's a premium thing, man. We can't just post it. Who do you think is the better play tonight? Tyler Hero or Josh Jackson? Man, let me revisit that question in a couple minutes. My favorite part of Run DFS is there are no whining losers besides Chronic. All right, let's jump into it. New York Knicks at the Cleveland Cavaliers. First game we're gonna chop up. Project starting 5 for the Knicks: Elfrid Payton, Reggie Bullock, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson taking on Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, Jetty Osman, Larry Nance Jr., and Andre the Giant Drummond. We got a 215.5 total 3-point spread in favor of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kind of a medium total, right? Small spread, kind of surprisingly small spread. No Kevin Love in this game. Andre Drummond's been on an absolute tear, and we've actually seen some centers succeed against the Knicks front court a little bit more so than we saw last season. Short sample size, but man, Andre Drummond's absolutely been tearing it up, and this might be a fun spot to go get him for another night. Under 9K on both sites. I'm looking for 45 to 50 fantasy points. He's done that in the last 2 games. Remember that Detroit game, revenge, extra innings, right? He had overtime. But, man, 26 minutes against the Sixers, 57 DKP. There was no Embiid that game. But Drummond still is somebody that I think you could be interested in early on. I do taper my expectations in this spot because I do think the Knicks front court should be better at rebounding and limiting opposing bigs, but there's still plenty of meat on the bone at that price point if he truly activates ceiling mode. Colin Sexton and Darius Garland have had incredible fantasy starts to the season. 37, 45, 29 minutes for Sexton the first couple games. Again, that middle game, we take out probably 10 minutes from all these guys, but he's still on pace to be a solid play. 7K, so I need the north side of 40 fantasy points. I'm a lot less excited at this price point. And then Darius Garland's right there at 6K. He's another guy that's had a couple of stunners. Eventually, I think I want to live my life not wanting to rely on the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? The Magic's got to stop somewhere. This is one of the lower totals on the slate. I don't really see a price point on the Cavs that I feel like is a must play. I think Larry Nance has some upside on FanDuel at 55. Heck, we've seen it already. But that upside game was really against a softer matchup against the Charlotte Hornets. So even he's somebody I might just be looking for 30 fantasy points, and my soft projections put him right at 30-ish fantasy points as well. So Larry Nance for like points per dollar is just kind of sitting there for me. And then there is Drummond, but I don't know if I'm going to go bullish with Drummond. On the Knicks side, Julius Randle, 7-7 on FanDuel, 8,200. He's a guy that when he's on, I believe he's matchup proof. On Sunday, he had a monster game, 61 fantasy points, 14 rebounds, and a lot of assists. Definitely don't think that's something crazy to expect. I love the fact that we've been getting 35-plus minutes with Julius Randle. Reminds me of some of his bigger days with the Pelicans, with the Lakers. 8,200, a lot of meat on the bone in a 50-plus fantasy point matchup. And this Cavs front court is something that I think he can get off against. And if this game's going to stay tight, I think Randle has a lot to do with it. You can make cases for R.J. Barrett, and if you spin the wheel, There's, we talk about ranges of outcomes. There's always a range of outcome that Elfrid Payton is a good play, and there's always a range of outcomes that get you 8 fantasy points. 29 minutes against Milwaukee, a faster-paced team. He took 16 shot attempts. 27 real points, and we've seen him be a peripheral guy in the last couple years. So I would say if you're running 100, 150 lines, you think about Elf against the Cavs, because the Cavs coming into the season were one of the more generous teams fantasy-wise to opposing point guards. And it could happen here. But if I'm running 20 or less, I don't know how much stock I'm putting in Elf. I really just think I'm looking at Randall, Nance, and Drummond at the end of the day. Raj, are you any different? I also will say Alec Burks, I think, was doubtful, right? And
yeah, he got.
That is.
So give me all the Elfrid Payton.
Yeah, so without Burks, that does open 20 to 30 minutes, and Burks was representing nearly 20 points a game. So we make up those points. Is that more points for Randall? I think Elfrid Payton is going to be a high-scoring, real-scoring point guard. If you understand what I'm saying.
Triple-double guy.
So the guy, like, if it ain't Randall, I think it's R.J. Barrett that gets more shots. He's gotten 15 and 17 shots in his first 3 games, high minutes. But at 7,100, that's an uncomfortable click. But I think he would be a impact beneficiary of no Alec Burks. But what do you know with this game, Raj?
I think the Cavs are a team to target. I mean, we saw first games against Charlotte. I don't know, small sample size, but it was a bit of a shootout. Second against Detroit, went into overtime with a shootout. And third one, I mean, they kind of blew out the Sixers. But, I mean, I like the New York guys. You know the minutes with Tom Thibodeau. I'm going to go to their starters. Elfrid Payton at 5,500 on DraftKings. A lot of meat on the bone there. I mean, he can get you 40+. So give me that, especially with no Rivers, no Quickly, no Dennis Smith Jr., and Alec Burks downgraded. So give me that. You mentioned R.J. Barrett. He's going to get the minutes. He has the usage. I think he's one of those guys that he can win you a slate, 7,100. He can get you 40, 50+. So give me some R.J. Barrett. You mentioned Randall. I like these Knicks. And the minutes are there. Give me all 3 of these Knicks. And the Cleveland side, man, it's so hard to kind of believe.
You getting phone calls there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm trying to shut it off. It is. I don't know why.
Mom, I'm talking DFS.
Yeah, just give me Sexton and Garland. Kind of tough to get their price. Larry Nance, he kind of gives you that triple-double threat too. First game almost did it. No Kevin Love.
So I don't know if I'm triple-double threating Nance consistently.
Like he gives you the assist.
He gives you the assist. Relax.
That's the one that's short, but he'll get you the 10 points, 10 rebounds, and he's always flown down with no Kevin Love, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
No, I think fantasy point wise is there, but relax with the triple-double projections on.
He's not Westbrook or anything, but it'll come.
Okay. Knicks with Thibodeau minutes. I'm with that. I wouldn't even be shocked if like a Reggie Bullock floated up to a couple more minutes and it was a solid value play. But hard to feel great about after you get to your 4th or 5th name in this game. But even Mitchell Robinson, I think, is due for a big game sooner or later. But yeah, give me Randall, give me Nance, give me Drummond as the frontier guys. Second level, I'd be interested in Elfrid Payton if I truly believe no Dennis Smith. Alec Burks will equal 30-35 minutes of Elf, just because there is potential for him to be borderline triple-double threat. I don't think 10 rebounds is in this game for him, but double-double with assists, he's cheap enough to do that. I'm a buyer on that. Let's move on. Actually, let's see what you guys got, chat, before we move on. Anything on this game? Jeff Jones, where are you at? Yo, Chronic, talk your Elf with no guards. Yeah, I can see that. Jetty's looking good at small forward on FanDuel. Jetty's never fun to play, but yeah, if he soaks up, it's a range of outcome for him to be solid. Christmas is over, boys. Put Elf back on the shelf. No, never. Barrett is 7K. Barrett is 7K on DraftKings. I like him a little bit more on the FanDuel price point, just giving him those extra shots without Alec Burks trying to make up that 20 real points. But 7K, that's a hero ball click right there. And if he got you that 45, 50+, would be an incredible result. But it is the Cavaliers, and we've seen the Cavaliers pay off full stacks. If you might remember the Charlotte Hornets game to start the season, Rozier, Devontae Graham, Gordon Hayward all kind of got there. So I don't think it's insane to put 3 Knicks at 35 minutes and expect them to be a solid triple stack. So
I don't think all three would get there for tournament value, but I could see two of them.
yeah, I like the FanDuel prices a little bit more than the DK. I think on FanDuel there's a range of outcomes where Elf, Barrett, and Randall positively correlate for a solid triple stack for tournaments at their prices.
Yeah, I mean, on DK, Alp's the only guy that's kind of nicely priced, I think.
Yeah. I think Randall's got, yeah, okay. Let's move on to the next game here. Golden State Warriors at the Detroit Pistons, who projects a starting 5 for the Warriors. Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre Jr., Juan Toscano Anderson, James Wiseman taking on Killian Hayes, DeLon Wright, Jeremy Grant, Blake Griffin, Mason Plumlee. Got a 226.5 total, 4.5 point spread in favor of the Golden State Warriors. Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin sat out last night. So it is night 2 of a back-to-back, but they'll have those 2 higher usage guys back into the mix, and that will probably suppress our desire to jam in the DeLon Wrights and Josh Jacksons of the world. However, their price points are still reasonable for what their upside might be in this matchup, because the Warriors are still going to be porous on defense and faster in pace. So I still think there's a range of outcomes where a DeLon Wright and Jackson all kind of get there. I mean, generally, this whole team's kind of cheap. Even Jeremy Grant has a shot at 6'5". Blake Griffin, 6,900, nice on both sites. Could we see 40-plus out of him against this Warriors front court? I think it's very, very viable. The other night he had a really strong first half. It did end up getting there because of overtime, but the second half wasn't as strong as the first half, but 20-plus shot attempts, 16 threes. Excuse me, Blake. Excuse me. But Blake, I think Blake has some potential at his price point. He is playing, right? Like Griffin and Rose are.
Griffin's
okay.
playing.
So I don't mind that. Derrick Rose is 55,600. We know when he comes in, 25 minutes of 25-30% usage could certainly pay off against this matchup. I'm with it. On the Warriors side, Steph Curry's 9'4", 9,600. So far, we haven't seen a whole lot of competitive games for the Warriors. They've had a tough stretch. Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and then Chicago was a shootout, and Steph absolutely got there. We know Steph's going to have the highest usage on the team, could be 30%. If he's getting 35 minutes in a competitive game, you're likely getting 20-plus shot attempts. And then hopefully some more assists start coming when Oubre and Wiggins can start hitting shots. Is Steph Curry, he's priced correctly, I think, at 9,600. But I think 50 fantasy points is like such a reasonable projection for him. And I got him at 51, almost 51 flat in my soft projections. Is he a core play for you at 9'4", 96, or do we think, hey, he needs 50? Like, do we go to
He would be a core play, except Russell Westbrook is the same price against Chicago. I'm playing Westbrook over Curry all day, every day. So he's in the pool, not a core play, but he's still shooting. Like, he got there last time and he shot 5 for 15 from 3. So he's just going to get better from 3 as he gets more repetitions down, coming back from injury. So give me Curry. Wiseman is there. He's 5,900. The minutes aren't where you want him to be. He hasn't touched 30 minutes yet. Marquise Chris is injured. That might open up maybe a couple more minutes they want to push him, but it might open up minutes for like Anderson, Toscano Anderson, or even Kevon Looney. So don't know if I'm really going to click on Wiseman here. I'm probably going to stay away from Wiggins and Oubre. The minutes are there. Wiggins at 6,400.
It's coming. Detroit. The Oubre game is coming. Gosh darn it! I'm not gonna miss it. The shots are there. The
3 for 16.
Double-digit shot attempts. He hasn't hit a 3 yet. Last year he shot like 30 to 33%. He's not like a lights-out shooter. But the volume is gonna be there. Look at the peripherals are there. Look, last slate he almost hit value without double-digit real points. Oubre at 5,700. I can't quit him. I think it's like BABIP in baseball, right? Like, if you're not gonna shoot 0 for 5, 0 for 6 forever, I think the shots will start falling. I'm gonna play him at 57. I legitimately think he has 40+ fantasy point upside. 3 for 16. He had 28 DKP. If he hits 4 more shots, he might be a 40 fantasy point player because He would have had the double bonus and more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play Kelly Oubre until it just hurts.
And Wiggins. You have both of them.
I've never been a big Wiggins guy, but I also think at this price point they could get there. Like I think Steph Curry, Wiggins, Oubre in a 3-man stack. There is a range of outcomes in a competitive game where they could all hit their 5 to 7x value. But I'm just like I've long been a sucker for Oubre. I just really am. What are you doing with the Pistons?
With the Pistons, everyone back healthy. I might take a shot with Blake Griffin, but I think I'm staying away from all the other value guys.
Yeah, so Killian Hayes, after the first half, really after the first quarter, we're like, man, why would we play this guy? And then second half, he just kind of got there. He's still really cheap on FanDuel, but in the games that we have sample size on with Derrick Rose and guards like that, Hayes was not getting meaningful minutes to go overboard with it. So I might take my money and run 20 and 21 minutes the first 2 games. And I think the second game was an overtime game. He still just got 20 minutes. So I don't know that like I'm believing in him to be a 29-minute player today. So I might take my money and run on him. Jeremy Grant has some meat on the bone, I think, at that price point. And then Mason Plumlee, right? If Okafor misses this game again, he's just been such
against Golden State.
Yeah, a solid point per minute guy. He's going against a rookie, right? 38 yesterday. His point per minute, man. Like I'll put it as a stocking stuffer. You know, anyone that's 5-6K and just gave me 30 fantasy points to let my lineup be great elsewhere. I'll put him in the mix. So I think this game is cheap enough to attack past Curry, right? Let's go look at chat here. John and Galicia, am I saying that? Elf or Dragic, or just run both? I think Dragic's way safer for floor, but Elf does have a fun ceiling, but it's a very, very volatile play. What up, Kate Johnson? We in here. You're late as always when I'm here, man. May not come when you call, but I'm always right on time. What else we got? I like Oubre for tournaments. Satoransky seems fine as well. Okay. Against the Pistons, this is definitely the game Oubre pops off and Curry introduces Hayes to the NBA. This is young C. I like that call a lot. I think on FanDuel, I'll try and have some Curry and Westbrook lineups, but I know in DraftKings it's a little bit harder to get those 10K guards and make a lineup fill out, right? Plumlee's fine at cash play. I agree. I do like Blake quite a bit. Yeah, Blake has the freshest legs on his team tonight, other than Derrick Rose. Maybe. Atlanta hit 23 pointers last night versus Detroit. Golden State about to light them up. The volume's been there so far. It's just the efficiency is not. Let's move on to the next game. Boston Celtics at the Indiana Pacers. Project starting 5 for the Celtics: Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Tristan Thompson, Daniel Tice. Taking on Malcolm Brogdon, Victor Oladipo, T.J. Warren, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Timmy Turner. 218 total, 1-point spread in favor of the home team Pacers. So on paper, this is going to be one of our slower, grindier defensive games. Both teams last year were better, 2 of the better defensive teams. But it is 2 teams that I think we can put a lot of concentrated usage and production on. On the Celtics side, we look at Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, even Marcus Smart to an extent, but you know, whatever. It would be Marcus Smart when we're focusing on like Elf and Goran Dragic for Marcus Smart to just pop up out of nowhere. And then on the Pacers side, for fantasy purposes, Domantas Sabonis just tends to get there. 8,600 on DraftKings, almost 9K in FanDuel, right? You're starting to push the limits of his stealing in a not great matchup. And then Malcolm Brogdon, 75, 7,200. Could he get us 40-plus fantasy points? I think he could. I don't think there's really a price point that I feel like is a must-click, like, meat-on-the-bone play. But in a slate where I think a lot of eyes just, like, kind of go away from this game, I think there's some big field tournament merit in, you know, potentially putting 50 on a Sabonis, right? Because a 1-point spread, I mean, this could be just grinded out, you know, squeeze out as much minutes as you can. Just out of curiosity, how has Sabonis done DKP versus Celtics? Let's go last 10 games.
I played him last game just the other day, and he didn't quite get there, but it was fine.
Yeah. He's been so solid though. 41, 52, 49 his last 3 games against the Celtics. December 27th, March 10th, and December 11th. Over the last 2 seasons. So But those are deep minutes, 41 minutes, 41 minutes. So there is a 49 and 35 minutes. So it's like not impossible for Sabonis to just be a super solid play. Like I said, I do think like if I'm making 20 lineups or less, I probably don't get to this game. But generally, I do think there's cases to be made for the concentrated usage in fantasy production on like 4 guys. Interest level in this one, Raj and Chat.
I liked this game last time when they played Boston versus Indiana. I thought it would be 2 competitive teams just going at it. Victor Oladipo got ruled out, and Sabonis and Brogdon still didn't kind of smash. So that's a little worrisome, but I'm going to go right back to this game. Give me Jaylen Brown at his price. I think he's an 8K guy. He's 7,500. Going to take a ton of shots here. Second in the team in usage after Tatum. Give me Brown. Give me Tatum. Give me Sabonis. Brogdon at price 72. I feel like we're with Oladipo playing. It's going to be tough for him to smash that price. He can get there for you, sure. But it have to be a tough smash spot. So I think just Sabonis for me.
Yeah. I'm kind of.
And I just never really play Miles Turner. He's fine. I
saw the other day he had like 17 blocks through 3 games or something.
Yeah, so he had 8 the first game, 4 the second, and 5 in the third.
So the Celtics team is gonna be tough to get blocks off on. Like Tyus Thompson, Tatum. What a.
He got 5 blocks on him last game, so he just on a roll. Maybe so. He's probably an elite FanDuel play where blocks are worth more. I think.
Yeah, that's 15 right off the top. Oh man, it's hard. I don't ever play Turner when Sabonis is in either.
He's been surviving off his blocks.
5, yeah, she's high block player. The thing about blocks, man, they turn into fouls sometimes, and it's annoying.
They do.
Let's look at the live chat before we matriculate on. What up, Keenan Muscala? Yeah, I think Muscala is going to profile as a really nice value play today. K Johnson said, I forgot to say what's up to Mr. 50 Bomb. What up, Raj? He can get you 50.
Yeah,
he can get you 50. Jason says Brown, Sabonis, Brogdon with that. Turner 6K, but Plumlee's 57. I'd probably go Plumlee myself. But on FanDuel, there's a case for Turner, but he is 7,200, so I probably don't get there. But yeah, I think this is one of those soft games. Like on a big slate like this, I got to X out a couple games from my player pool. Just keep it concentrated. If I lose, I lose because this game goes to OT or something. It is what it is. Somebody asked, are we playing Smart in tournaments only? That's probably the Marcus Smart approach anyway. Every now and then, Marcus Smart has a case for cash if like Brown's out. I do think the minutes are there for Marcus Smart. 6,500, I would like 35 to 45 fantasy point window. He's gotten there once against Brooklyn. So, yeah, I think tournaments only. But even then, like, is our ceiling kind of low, maybe? Games made to me outside of... Yeah, okay, same. All right, let's move on to the next game. Philadelphia 76ers hosting Toronto Raptors. Project 35 for the Raptors. Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Aaron Baines taking on Benjamin Simmons III. Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid. Embiid does have a Q tag on him because he sat out last game. Update. He's probable playing now. All right, lit. 218.5 star total, 1.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Philadelphia 76ers. Embiid is pushing 10K, Simmons 9K. Hard to feel like there's a great ceiling at those price points. Definitely Embiid would be the guy more likely for me to go get because this Raptors front court, it's not Ibaka, it's not Marc Gasol anymore. I think there is a little bit of viability in projecting success against the front court. So Embiid going against a block happy guy like Chris Boucher, maybe get some foul trouble. I think Embiid has
NBA All-Star MVP.
You talk about blocks. That dude has 7 blocks against the Mavs the other day. It was ridiculous. But Embiid at 9.8, there's a case for 50 plus, but he needs 50 plus. So I'm not too excited, generally speaking. And then on the Raptor side, Lowry 7.5, VanVleet 7.4, Siakam. I need 40 plus out of that. There's not even more so than maybe the Celtics game. There's not one guy standing out to me that's like, hey, my price is too low. I'm easily going to smash at this price. I'm easily going to even hit value at this price.
Yeah.
Maybe we argue the tight spread, the closer competitive games, we get more than we expect.
I think one of them smashes, like Siakam or VanVleet. Like one of those guys probably gets you like 50 DKP. Which one? Most likely Siakam, but wouldn't be shocked if it's a VanVleet. Philly hasn't looked that great defensively this year. They've been giving up quite a few points, so they can definitely get there. I'm not running to play these guys, but if I just happen to fall into a VanVleet, a Siakam, Boucher's interesting. Like, can you do that against Embiid?
Probably not. I mean, the Mavs are so small. And
I mean, he did against the Spurs. I guess it was Poto who did against Poto. He had 50 against San Antonio.
Texas, I'm racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boucher's a little. The price isn't quite there for me. I'm probably Xing this game out too. Like I might circle back. I might circle. Siakam? Maybe, but is there a true ceiling at those? Siakam was leaving the planet first half in that last game, but like, is there a true ceiling? Like,
both those guys have 50-point upsides at their price at 72 or 76 for VanVleet.
I mean, they do.
Yeah.
But from ranges of outcomes on this slate 100 times.
Yeah, not running to them.
How many times is 7 for VanVleet the nuts?
Yeah, I hear you. And I'm probably staying away from every Philly guy.
Yeah, I might circle back on Embiid.
There's no Korkmaz, if that does anything for you.
Stop. What?
What?
There's no Korkmaz.
Has a vintage Danny Green.
Get the F out of here. All right, no, stop.
We're
not doing that. That's ridiculous. I'm just not there, chat. Am I missing some obvious must play here? VanVleet for the 50 bomb rush is Jason. All right. Lots of good options, but the prices are just too much for the better options. Yeah. I just feel like I feel like I'm not getting a great deal from anyone in specifically, right? San Antonio's trash. Everybody's killing. Yeah, that's where I'm at, chat. Let's matriculate on to the next game. Washington Wizards hosting Chicago Bulls. Juicy total here. This will be the apple of a lot of eyes here. Still a 7 p.m. tip-off. All these games so far tipping off right at lock. Project starting fire for the Bulls. Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Pat Williams, Larry Markin, and Wendell Carter Jr. taking on Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Denny Avdia. I'm still working on that. Isak Bonga, Thomas Bryant, 237.5 total, 6.5 point spread in favor of the Washington Wizards. Stackable all the way around. I think so. A lot of easy to. Maybe the Westbrook Beal combo feels a little rough to trust, but you know that those two together, they have a strong shot to give you 100+ fantasy points. Westbrook seems a little higher floor, obviously because of his peripherals. So far, has tripped-dubbed in every game. Hasn't really got a dub for it, but it's fun for fantasy. And then the Bulls, really cheap all the way around. LaVine, finally, Zach LaVine showed up and showed out against that porous defense, Golden State Warriors. 52 fantasy points on 30 real points. That's definitely something he is capable of doing going forward. 20+ shot attempts. That's more of the LaVine I was expecting in the first couple games. 12 threes. This is a game against the Washington Wizards team that was very bad defensively last year. Up in pace. So far, they've kind of lived up to that trend, even with some more healthy guys in the front court. Thomas Bryant coming back, stuff like that. I still think LaVine could pop off here. I like his FanDuel price a little bit more than his DraftKings price, but I think there's merit in both sites on that price tag today. I think there's a little bit more flimsier confidence levels behind Kobe White, Larry Markkinen, but I certainly think they are introduced into the player pool.
Kobe White is priced very interestingly against Washington.
He's got room. He's got room on that price. But he's not somebody I would consider like a consistent like payoff there. And then Larry Markkinen, kind of the same thing. Like this has been a bad rebounding Wizards team. Obviously Westbrook improves the rebounding percentage a little
Wendell
bit.
Carter coming off a big game.
It's there. The confidence levels.
I do think Golden State's probably going to end up being like the best matchup for centers out of the league.
I would agree.
By the time we get the stats, so maybe that's why. But yeah, Washington's not exactly elite. Is Westbrook going to steal a couple of his rebounds? Sure, but
I think it's stackable. Like I think the game's stackable, but I think like the Bulls, I'd have to set a rule. I probably don't want more than 3, but probably 2, just because it's a big slate. But I definitely think like individually, Like, if you take out the fact that, yeah, not all of them will get there in their individual price points. Kobe White has a ceiling at that price. Levine does. Marketing and Carter do. I guess you can make a case for Patrick Williams. I think I saw Thaddeus Young is playing.
Yeah.
So you throw him in the mix. Maybe he gets 15 to 20 minutes. Probably 20s on the high side. Maybe that eats into the front court just a little bit more, and it might ruffle the feathers of the projections. I kept Wendell Carter on the south side of 30 minutes. So maybe that's enough to keep me away from that. I don't think he's going to overly impact like Lauri Markkanen's role so far. But it is something to note that we do have Thad Young back in the mix to shake up the minute projections. Chat, what are you guys doing with this game before we matriculate on? J. Cole says Westbrook, Russell, and Satoransky. I've been seeing some Satoransky love today. I think he's really cheap on both sides in this game, in this pace, and the style of basketball is quote unquote a revenge game too. Sure, I think there's at least a case like in deep field tournaments. But Satoransky is not going to be a guy that takes many shots. He's going to have the peripherals way to satisfy value. But I think like it's possible. So I think if you're really pinching pennies in deep field tournaments, sure, but it's not something I want to like be bullish on. And if it somehow became chalk, I probably would just stay away completely. Carter versus Washington should hit. It should. No Bryant for me at 7K. I like Bryant like if Westbrook's out and you can give Bryant some more rebounds or whatever. But generally speaking, like I think this is a Westbrook Beal click for me. Sometimes Denny can get in the mix for me. And yeah, but I do like the game in total, right? Washington's not efficient by any means. A lot of rebounds to go around for Carter. Yeah, I don't think if you show me a lineup to have Wendell Carter, I don't think you're off base. I think the pace and the total. I mean, we're talking almost a 240 total. It's nuts to just dismiss anyone. But the confidence level is low. The confidence level is low. Let's move on to the next game. Bucks at the Miami Heat. Project starting five for the Bucks: Drew Holiday, Dante DiVincenzo, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brook Lopez taking on Goran Dragic, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Myers Leonard, and Bam Adebayo. Jimmy G buckets, and the D and the G stands for gonna sit this one out. 226 total. The Bucks favored by 5.5. Heat, we know without Jimmy Butler, there's more usage to spread around. We know the Bucks are going to be a high-paced team, and they're going to score a lot. So how do we fire back? Well, we want guys that can run the pace and guys that can shoot threes to kind of keep it competitive. Duncan Robinson can shoot threes, but you feel like at his price on DK, like you're living and dying by him getting 25-plus real points. At that point, Goran Dragic, I love the idea. At 6'9" on FanDuel, I think it's a little flimsier than people want to admit. His DraftKings price is very appealing. But on FanDuel at 6'9", I really want that north side of 40 fantasy points. And I think I think it's there. I think it's very possible that he does that. But like I said, it's a necessity at that point. At 58 on DraftKings, I can live with 30 if it happened, and knowing that there's upside there, I'm with it. So Dragic on DraftKings, I have rated higher tier than Dragic on FanDuel, but I'm a buyer. And then Bam Adebayo, 8,200 on FanDuel, 8K on DraftKings. This Bucks team has been last year they gave up the fewest points in the paint.
This year.
I didn't say I don't want to overreact to like 2-3 game sample sizes, especially when the Bucks have been a part of a couple weird games. But Adebayo is not really a guy that's going to shoot threes, right? Do we without Butler? I still like the heart wants to play Adebayo, right? Do we love Adebayo against the Bucks at 8K?
Oh yeah, I'm locking in Dragic and Adebayo like I locked in Karis LeVert and TLC and Joe Harris yesterday. It's just a spot. Milwaukee's going to run up and down the court. Give me Dragic. Give me Adebayo. They're going to lead the team both 20+% in usage. You just lock them in. I'm a little worried. I mean, Drew Holiday is known as the best, perimeter defender in the league. So, Dragic sees some of him. Yeah, is there a little worry there? Sure, but Dragic is good. I I just think he's gonna get there at his price 58. So on DK, the combined price 13,800. You can get 90 to 100 fantasy points.
I'm skittish on Adebayo. I don't think I'm getting a fantastic deal. I think there's merit there. I think at 8K,
Adebayo is a triple double threat too. With no Butler, take up some of that playmaking duties. You could have one of those games.
I could. DKP by game log without Jimmy Butler. Let's put so in his last couple of games against the Bucks, there's a 45 and a 49. And at 8K, if I faded
With Jimmy or without?
with that was just against the Bucks. And then his last 10 games without Jimmy, there's one game over 45 fantasy points. So like, it's easy to say, oh, Adebayo, no Butler is a lock. But at 8K, he doesn't have a track record of demolishing that price.
I hear you.
And that's 64, I think, was a triple-double. Yeah, no, it was a assist side of a triple-double in 41 minutes against the Cavs. So I'm not as stoked as you or maybe the field.
But you're more in love with Dragic? Like, I might be more worried about Dragic.
No. So on DraftKings, Dragic's price...
Yeah.
Even if he walked away with 25, I don't feel like he completely tanks me. I would want 30, 35.
40.
But like Dragic is a playmaker, right? Yeah, Drew Holiday can be a perimeter defender, but Dragic can create shots for other people. 9 assists, 7 assists, and some of his shots are really just driving to the rack. And 7 free throw attempts last game. Like I just think he has a higher floor per minute. I don't know. If I had to choose between Dragic and Adebayo for DraftKings, I'm probably going Dragic just for the floor. And I'm not anti Adebayo. I think Adebayo could certainly give us a 40+ fantasy point game. But I start to try and make a realistic expectation. Just looking at his history without Jimmy, like I said, last 10 games, he's done basically what you need him to do at this price. And then this matchup is, at least last year, I mean, they didn't really change anything in this front court. This matchup was one of the toughest front court matchups to score on, and he doesn't shoot threes at a high level. I mean, this might, if you do that, and we will say a crazy name here, what about Myers Leonard? Here's a big who does shoot threes, right?
Back it up and stop right there.
I'm just saying, if you talk about the game theory behind why I don't like Adebayo, well, here's a big that is shooting threes. Could Myers Leonard be somebody they need to fill that long range, shoot 3 rows? He could shoot maybe over a Drew Holiday, but he's still gonna.
I think Iguodala is gonna be out there just to guard Giannis.
Okay, buddy.
He's the guy who's gonna guard Giannis, right?
All right. And then there's a range of outcome where the Bucks could blow out the Heat, right?
Yeah, I got respect for the Heat bench, and the Bucks haven't looked too good so far, but it's possible.
Chat, am I wrong? Am I right? Where are we at? Ibsen Bracey says Tyler Hero ?
I'm not a big fan of Tyler Hero. Like, he had a couple big games in the playoffs. I think people are really overhype on him.
Double-digit shot attempts for him in the first 2 games. Take out Jimmy. I think the minutes will be there for him in a competitive game.
5,700.
He would be somebody that would have to lean on for the long-range shots, right? Sway McDonough says Porter's got minutes because of a blowout. Okay. Giannis fade. Oh, so we didn't even talk about Giannis. 10.8K on DraftKings, 11K on FanDuel. I think all eyes immediately go to like a Westbrook and a Curry and stuff like that. Even Jokic is on an absolute tear. Getting to 11K for Giannis on paper against the Bucks just sounds rough, right? Yeah. So in tournaments, I think it sounds like an elite spot. So far this season, we've seen like Chris Middleton pick up a ton of slack, and Giannis just really, really hasn't like broken a slate. Could it come? I think it could, but it has to be in a competitive game, right? Straight up 4 quarters, getting that 35, 36 minutes out of them, getting that 1.7, 1.8 fantasy point per minute production out of them. I think I end up low on Giannis on the DK price. On FanDuel, 11K, I probably end up low there as well. But he's a power forward on FanDuel, right? So if you look at that power forward pool, it's not that thick. Blake Griffin's kind of there for me. Maybe I do get there if I find some value. Nas Reed, I think, will be extremely popular at 4,500. I might be low on him over there on
He's
FanDuel as well.
Giannis. You just play him.
Yeah,
You play
you
him.
just so the thing with Giannis, and we're seeing it with I guess to an extent last night with LeBron. Like people forget these studs still can be the 70 bombs, right? And then after a couple bad games, it's goldfish memory for me. But a lot of the field are game logging, right? And like, well, Giannis hasn't done it yet. Stay away. Miami Heat, good defense, but man, if you got a 4-quarter game out of Giannis, it's absolutely in the range of outcomes. I do respect Miami defensively, though. It's not like something I think is a lock, but it's certainly very fun tournament game theory thought of Giannis, potentially pushing 60, 70. Just out of curiosity, Giannis Antetokounmpo DKP by game log versus Heat last 10 games. Some of this might have Jimmy Butler involved. There's a 60, 50. There's 70s dating back to 2019. So yeah, that's about what you expect.
I mean, if
right?
I'm gonna have a lot of Dragic and Bam, I think this game's gonna go back and forth. And if Giannis is coming low owned, I want to be over the field.
I think if I got to 100, 150 line, I'm sure. I'm gonna keep it tight in 50 to 20. K. Johnson says False Portis has taken over center duties from Lopez. He's outpaced him the last 2 games. We can actually quantify that and get to the bottom of
That's
this.
why Milwaukee's been getting beat by centers then.
Milwaukee. So let's go look at that Knicks game. And we're
Blowout. Next game was a blowout.
Bobby Porter's got a nice chunk in the first quarter, closed out the first half, and he kind of sat out garbage time. So, yeah, it looks like Bobby Portis is part of.
You gotta like Bam now a little more.
26. I mean, a little more, but like not really a ton. Like still.
I'm gonna have Bam a little more.
Let's Portis price. He's 5K on the nose. Maybe I don't know. I just don't think I'm getting a fantastic deal. If Bam was like 7K, 7.5 or less, I might be a little bit stronger of a buyer. Giannis says stealing game tonight could happen. Nick Mace says fade, bro. This is not 2015. Iggy's done. I want Andre Iguodala.
I mean, yeah, but he's still a serviceable body to put out there on elite players for a while.
This guy. Orlando Magic, please stop. Orlando Magic at the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder night 2 of a back-to-back. Project starting 5 for Orlando Magic. Markelle Fultz, Evan Fournier, Dwayne Bacon, Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Vucevic taking on SGA. George Hill, maybe, question mark. Lou Dort, Darius Baisley, and Mike Muscala. Al Horford out for the night. We're going to get some potential value here. Mike Muscala is 3,200, almost bare bones min on DraftKings, 41 on FanDuel. Certainly somebody we've seen be point per minute in his previous years, previous seasons. Not the most favorable matchup.
He's not getting the double-double, that's for sure.
Sometimes price and opportunity trumps matchup, and I think this is one of those times. But the Oklahoma City Thunder are also price-wise, a stackable team. SGA is 8,100. And so I kind of talked about how we're waiting for guys to have that game. I think we are still waiting for SGA to have that game. Last night, 39 DKP against the Utah Jazz, shot 42%, 1 for 7. Similar shooting night to the game against Charlotte, just 40%, 1 for 6. But he's still not killing you yet, right? For him to essentially average 41 fantasy points, 43
he got there
fantasy
late
points.
last game, but he got there.
Right. One of these nights he's going to shoot a little bit better. Now the Magic, again, stronger defense, whatever, night 2 of a back-to-back. But the responsibility is still there, and I think SGA has potential to move up in price going forward. The total in this game, 219 is not a whole lot to get super excited about, but I do think SGA is just going to keep being that guy that I'm kind of like Oubre right now. I'm just kind of at that slot machine, and I do think a 50 bomb's coming eventually. So I'm kind of keeping him in mind. We'll see what the story is on George Hill. George Hill questionable against the Magic due to neck spasms. Yikes.
Kind of like SJ even more.
So, yes, but also, let's start thinking about Lou Dort and Darius Baisley. Baisley's been a stocking stuffer for me, and then last night, Lou Dort kind of flashed what we saw in the playoffs last year. 9 for 11, 5 for 7 from downtown, 35 fantasy points on 26 real points. You take out, Hill and Horford. You take out 2 starters potentially. Dort younger guy, play a little bit deeper minutes, 32, 35 minutes. Could he easily pay off 4,600 with a 30 bomb? Yeah, I'd take that. So again, these are like names you're not used to even knowing, right? But here we are. And then Darius Baisley, stock and stuffer for me. 24 fantasy points last night, a point off of double-double on DK. Tougher matchup. I really wasn't that excited for him against the Utah front court. Not a whole lot of rebounds to be had, but maybe without Horford here, maybe he even gets some more duties at the 5. And then you start seeing like Kenrich Williams introduced into this mix, and maybe Ham Diallo even plays a little bit more without George Hill. I think he's kind of cheap. So I think the Thunder are fun to kind of pull some strings together at these price points. On the Magic side, Markelle Fultz still attainable at his price point on both sides. I do think 30 to 40 fantasy points is a reasonable range of outcome, and that's essentially what we've seen through the first 3 games. Back-to-back games against the Wizards, that's really favorable. So maybe, an average game here is 25 to 30. So maybe I'm not super excited for a potential ceiling game, but I still think the price is okay enough to kind of like last night, I put Mike Conley in the mix, right?
Yep.
Similar price. Who did Mike Conley play? So maybe Markelle Fultz can kind of surprise us there. And then Vucevic, 8,300 against nobody. 8,300,
Gucci
right?
gang season, baby.
Come on, I'm a buyer, dude. Like, give me 50+ fantasy points here. I think it's very
That's interesting.
plausible.
1v1 with him and Bam.
Gobert dropped 40+, right? And I think, I think we get double-digit rebounds, but I also think might get 20+ shot attempts from Vucevic. So I'm a buyer on Vucevic, and in a 1v1 versus Bam, I'm snap calling Vuce, bro.
This is a really sneaky game stack.
I would agree. I think the prices are cheap enough. If you just look at totals, you're like Thunder and Magic, blah, blah. But when you start looking at prices, you're like, wait a minute, he could hit at this price. Yeah.
And I want to say with Baisley today, Muscala's a perimeter big. He's not a guy to ever get 10 rebounds. So I think Baisley, who's already getting 10 or 11 rebounds in his 2 games, he might be in the paint a little more. Maybe a couple more putbacks and whatnot. So I like the SJ Baisley handcuff. Put them together, bring them back with Vooch and Markelle Fultz. This game goes to overtime. You're sitting pretty.
I agree. Well, you say that with every game. What you got live chat? Phoenix and Blaze says Muscala's dropping 50, calling it now. I mean, he's cheap. 50 is pushing it, but
he's not outscoring TLC from yesterday, but it should be okay.
Mike says, I saw you in Discord and isn't he live? Yeah, I have the voice channel in Discord. Man, dude, this smoothie is tasty, but it's sticky. John Galicia says, Muscala is close to a lock at that price. Give me 15, 20, and I'm in. Now, yes, but I'll say this, John. I think 20 on this size slate probably is not winning you a tournament. It's going to satisfy your value requirements. More than likely, you're going to need 9 to 12x from a 3K guy to help you make noise in a tournament on a deeper slate like this. So, I think Muscala has 9x potential. Not my favorite matchup, but I think he does have that potential per minute. We've seen it. Vooch over Drummond. Ooh, I love Vooch, and even Aaron Gordon has I know Gordon's been on limited minutes, but we've seen some strong games in limited minutes. 26, 30 minutes first 2 games, 31, 36 fantasy points. But I like Vooch quite a bit. And then, like I said, last night, Markelle Fultz, Mike Conley, right? You put Fultz in the mix here, kind of just that same price point. Does he fit? Yes, 20 shot attempts in that last game. I could be a buyer. I do think the Thunder are taking a step backwards defensively without Chris Paul, without Steven Adams, Gallinari.
I do wish Fultz got a little bit more minutes. I don't know why he hasn't touched the 35, 36 mark. But yeah.
Behind him, Cole Anthony, MCW. Terrence Ross is a hard click at 5K. I really need 30 fantasy points at that point to just be value, right? And then probably want a little bit more for
all these kind of Orlando guys, the minutes even for Vooch aren't up there. Looks like their coaches maybe just kind of slowly bring them in.
Armand says you like Boucher. I don't think Boucher has a whole lot of meat on the bone at this price point, but I think in super deep field tournaments, the idea of it is there just because he is a point per minute guy. The blocks will be there. I think we are you gotta keep in mind that without Ibaka and Gasol, like he could be a 20+ minute player here. But I don't think Philly is necessarily a matchup I'm like super stoked. I think we gotta really accept that 7 blocks is what really put him over the edge last game. But double with points and rebounds, not out of the question. But a lot of blocks can turn into fouls against Joel Embiid. So I think we put him as a stocking stuffer just to hit value. Sure, it's there. Bam. We did have a Bam conversation. You have to rewind that a little bit. I'm not as stoked for Bam as others. Bam's had pretty average game log without Butler and pretty average game log against the Bucks at this price point. So I'm just not excited. I'd be curious to see where the ownership projections put him at because it sounds like I could be lower than the field. Let's move on to the next game. 10 p.m. We're in the 10 p.m. Range of games. The Timberwolves, Minnesota, taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. We got project starting 5 for the T-Wolves. D-Russ, Malik Beasley, Jarrett Culver, Juancho, Hernan Gomez, and Naz Reid taking on Patrick Beverly, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Nick Batum, and Serge Ibaka. 227.5 total. The Clippers favored by 10. The T-Wolves without Karl Anthony Towns leave a lot to be desired. But they do offer us some potential value here as teammates start picking up the slack usage-wise without Karl Anthony Towns. D-Russ is just kind of sitting there. I think he's in no man's land because everyone's just kind of looking at 6K or less, or a Beal, or not a Beal, a Curry, a Westbrook, somebody like that. But Naz Reid on FanDuel, 4,500 power forward. I feel like there's a strong chance Reid is one of your highest owned FanDuel players on the slate. In that last game against the Lakers, 27 minutes played, 28 fantasy points. You probably expect something similar here against the Clippers. So I really just think there's enough meat on the bone that I'd be a buyer in that. I'd probably have to cap it at like maybe 40% and 50, maybe 50%. I'd probably want to see where the field's at. And then looking around, I would love to believe that like Ed Davis would get some more minutes. And maybe I'd point per dollar him to a strong game, but I think with Mike Muscala floating at that similar price range, I don't push the issue there. T-Wolves are just kind of hard to read here. Malik Beasley, I think, has upside at his price. We saw some really big tournament games from him last season. Last game without Cat, took just 9 shots against the Lakers. I want to say Lakers defense is better than the Clippers.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, the Clippers should be better. But then I remember the Clippers and the Mavs didn't go great. But I guess Kawhi was out. But Kawhi's out again, or he should be out. No, Kawhi's not out, but I think he could be with that mouth thing, right?
Yeah, he practiced yesterday.
I guess he's a bad man. He probably saw his team get smoked. He's like, I got to come back.
Yeah.
That says he remains questionable against Minnesota.
I mean, how is D'Angelo Russell just not a lock? You would think no Cat, you play Russell.
Naturally, the knee-jerk reaction would be, Russell without Cat. But last game, he got in a lot of foul trouble. I don't know. I don't think I'm getting there. I think
if Kawhi sits, I play a lot of Russell. If Kawhi plays, probably not as much.
Value-wise, my soft projections are putting Naz Reid toward the top. Malik Beasley's right around the 4.5s, and then Ricky Rubio off the bench, 5'1", 5'5". Somebody that's a little bit intriguing to me. You might see some lineups where D-Russ is playing a shooting guard role, and Rubio's just kind of controlling the ball. Rubio's been kind of baby Dragic, right? 20, 25 points per minute. The production is there. It's just you got to trust this game to stay competitive. The Timberwolves were not competitive for long against the Lakers, and this is already a 10-point spread. So you're playing with fire as is, especially if you're getting into like Russell interest. I think I'm just sticking with the value plays for now. You could probably give me a kiss of Culver and Naz Reid and even Juancho Hernan Gomez to an extent, but there's not anything I'm pushing the issue on. Let's talk about the Clippers for a little bit. There is at least a solid chance we don't have definitive Kawhi Leonard news before main slate locks. But if I told you right now Kawhi Leonard was out against the T-Wolves, and again, a 10-point spread, I think Vegas might be
full game stack.
Yeah, I think Vegas might be buying that Kawhi is in, and he very well might be. But if I told you right now Kawhi was out, Paul George is pretty low in price. Nick Batum has been kind of hitting at this price point.
I like Nick Batum. I think he's been playing great. I've been playing him. He's gotten there, except for the game. No one got there for the Clippers.
Yeah. And then, guys like Lou Will, even Ibaka to an extent. So I think if we thought Kawhi was out, there's stronger cases to be made here. And I think Paul George is the main one for me. 7,600.
If Kawhi is out, I would. Russell would be a tier 1 for me.
Really?
He's going to take 20 plus shots. He's going to have the usage. Yeah, I don't know why you're hating on D'Angelo Russell with no Cat.
Don't
overthink it. With no Leonard, I don't.
All
These
right.
Clippers.
So the statement is, if Kawhi is out, D Russ is tier 1 for you.
Yeah.
So you're saying, just think about what that means, though. If you tier 1 D Russ, you're gonna.
I like D Russ over Zach LaVine.
Okay, but tier 1 means he's your number 1 priority at the point guard spot. You would need more D Russ in your life than a Westbrook, a Curry.
His price 7,600.
A Beal even, and a Paul George. Like if you thought Kawhi.
Then Paul George would be a tier. Like that game would be, those two guys would be part of the core.
I don't think the thought is off base. I just don't know that I would trust that more than the aforementioned list of guys. But I get what you're saying, because the Clippers without Kawhi look lost against the Mavs.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we're gonna have that news, so we're just kind of playing with ideas at this point.
Yeah.
I do think even if Kawhi was in, there's a case for Paul George on FanDuel as a 7,600 shooting guard. But I would like to believe that the T-Wolves are not going to be a competitive basketball team with these projected lineups. What do we got, chat here? Davis is a bum. Had 28 last game. Oh, Naz Reid. Reid sucks. I mean, you could suck all you want, but if you're cheap and getting 30 minutes, I'll play you for fantasy, right? Nas is a major hacker. Yeah. There's a lot of bigs that are high foul pers. PG-13 is a lock if Kawhi doesn't play. I'd be with that. Russell still has to deal with Beverly. I'm good. Zubac, we got some Zubac love. I like Muscala, whopping 14.9 fantasy points last game. I think Muscala would be one of the highest owned value plays on the slate. I also think Naz Reid on FanDuel is gonna I don't think that's crazy. Hold on, Naz Reid fouls per 30 last 100 games. Let's see where we're at. 2.9.
His DraftKings price makes him.
Is this foul problems that insane? I guess
he had 5 fouls last game, but he might have been. Was he guarding? Was AD playing that game? No, that was a game without AD.
Okay. It's hard getting used to playing Batum as a regular. It feels like 2017. Bro, there was a time when Nick Batum was a literal triple-double threat.
Mini triple-double.
Good times. 22 minutes against Dallas, 36 against Denver. Sure. Stocking stuffer. At 4,500, I do. So, who was out the first game? Marcus Morris? Yeah, he's still out. Okay, so, yeah, I guess as long as Morris is still out in a competitive game, there's a case for Batum to get 30 minutes. And then if you think Kawhi could be out, Batum could push 30, 34 minutes in a competitive game. If you take out the competition, you might be looking at the Terrence Mann, Patrick Patterson, Reggie Jackson combos, right? This whole game's going to be a bust for DFS. PG-13 is the only player. All right. Let's move on to the next game. Phoenix Suns hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. Project starting 5 for the Pelicans. Lonzo Ball, Eric Bledsoe, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Stone Cold, Steven Adams. He's going to get one board. What? Up against Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, DeAndre Ayton, 2-2-2, and another 1-2 is our total with a 2.5 point spread in favor of the Phoenix Suns. Gotta like the prices on the surface here, right? This entire Pelicans team, individually, solidarity, singularly, everyone could hit at their price, right? There's not one Pelican that I think, and I'm not saying collectively they will all do it, but you start putting each one in a separate vacuum, every one of these guys could hit their price point. So I'm a little bit intrigued to start chopping this game apart because the 10 p.m. game might garner a little bit lower ownership. Zion and B.I., there is a world where they coexist, but there's also a rule probably I'm gonna have less of BI in Zion lineups and vice versa. But individually, there's a lot of meat on the bone, I think, for a 220 plus total. The guys that stand out the most, I think, are Zion and Brandon Ingram. But even Lonzo, could have a sneaky game at 6'6", while everyone's flirting with I don't know, a Goran Dragic, somebody like that. And then it is a Bledsoe revenge game, right? I want out. You remember that?
I mean, those were the days.
When he tweeted, "I want out," and then he later on was like, "I was at the barbershop and I wanted out." Yeah, whatever, bro. And then on the Suns side, DeAndre Ayton 7-4. Not a fantastic matchup defensively, but there's meat on the bone at that price point. Devin Booker's 9-1 on DraftKings, and you're just like, I'm going Westbrook, I'm going Curry. But at 7-5 on FanDuel, you could think about it a little bit more. And then how in plain sight, in broad daylight, is Chris Paul. 7-1. We've already seen tournament-winning night out of him. 54 fantasy points against the Kings.
It's a nice price tag.
It is. And he'll likely double-double with points and assists, and then everything else is just kind of like cheddar on top. So 7-1, if I got a shot at 50 fantasy points against the New Orleans Pelicans, I think it's very viable. So plenty of names here. I don't mind putting in the mix for late-night hammers. Who's leading the pack for you?
I mean, that Chris Paul night, I'm telling you, I wasn't even focused on him. I'm looking at his price. There's plenty of upside there. I mean, Chris Paul might be the guy here. With Ingram and Zion, it's just, Zion 8-1. He has a ceiling, but he also has like a 30-point floor, 35-point floor, which just doesn't get it done for you at that price. So if you want to play him, I get it. I think either one of him or Ingram probably gets to 50. I think Ingram is probably the more consistent one and likely to at the same price. So give me some Brandon Ingram and Chris Paul as some late night hammers. I don't think I've rostered Devin Booker once this year, and it's turned out well. His upside just seems to
at 9-1 is so hard.
Yeah, at that price, they're pricing him like he's last year playing without Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way I can get to him. Ayton, I haven't seen that blow up game yet. Again, I expected him to score a little more with Chris Paul. Hasn't just been the case. So give me Chris Paul and Brandon Ingram. Actually, really like. Brandon Ingram at that price. He has 2 games where he smashed at that price, a 60 and a 50, and one where kind of Zion had a big game, and he got 35.
I would also say your inclination there on Ayton scoring more this season with a pass first point guard like Chris Paul, like those inclinations that we had, don't abandon them on 3 game sample sizes. Like that stuff's gonna come. Like I thought Kelly Oubre, right? The shots are there.
Yeah.
I'm not giving up on him. So don't give up on Ayton if you think Paul's going to extract the best out of him. Like I said, it's not my favorite matchup against Adams, but I think Ayton's skill set can complement Adams' skill set in terms of what his strengths are defensively.
Chris Paul at that price is very juicy.
Yeah, I'm probably going to oversell myself on Chris Paul, especially on both sides.
What about Brandon Ingram? I mean, at that small forward position.
So, like I said, I think there's a world where Ingram and Zion can both get there. I think more often than not, it's going to be one or the other, or they both just are average plays and they kind of eat at each other. But Ingram's putting up 20-plus real points a game here. The volume's going to be there, but I also feel like that's the same with Zion. So it's just a matter of fighting for peripherals.
Ingram has a higher usage. Give him that. Zion's been a little more efficient.
Yeah. I think on DK, if you're getting the bonuses from double-double, it's a built-in with Zion. 5 steals for Zion against the Spurs. Whew. Without those steals, Zion's mid-30s here. So maybe BI is leading the charge here. I want to love Zion more than BI, but maybe BI is that dude.
Brandon Ingram has more playmaking ability, so he can get the assist. He'll get his rebounds too. So I want to say Brandon Ingram. The peripherals on offense will be there a little more, but Zion probably gets him on defensive peripherals.
Okay. All right. We're doing good on time, chat. We got one more game left to talk about. Then we'll take some questions, stuff like that. But let's take a pause for the cause after the stream at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. And if you guys want to listen in or jump in, grab a mic. Anyone can play. Go to rundfs.com, get yourself a VIP pass, get signed up, find a pass right for you, and then grab the links to the Discord, and then there will be linked to the rundfs.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. I will dress up my player pool, my tiers for both sites. You'll have my projections for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo. And then, of course, for the 2 hours leading up to lock, we'll be in the voice chat, chopping it up, having some fun, creating lineups, and digesting and reacting to news. And you guys are welcome to grab a mic, join the discussion, or just listen in. We'd love to have you. So go to rundfs.com. Great way to support the stream, support the site. Another great way to support the stream. We got 229 concurrent viewers right now, 44 likes. If you guys could just spend just a second, scroll down right below the video, hit that thumbs up. And then while you're there, see if you can hit that red button and subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, we are soaring past 5,000 subscribers, working our way to 6K. All of that helps out just as much, and I would be greatly appreciative for you to do that. And if you guys are curious on ways to interact with me elsewhere, other than the Discord, twitter.com/GundeckerSports, we now resume our regularly scheduled broadcast. The Denver Nuggets at the Sacramento Kings is our main event for this stream. It's another 10 p.m. lock, though. A 226 total, 2-point spread in favor of the visiting Denver Nuggets. Nuggets, night 2 of a back-to-back, playing the Houston Rockets last night. Project starting 5 for those Nuggets: Jamal Murray, Gary Harris Jr., Michael Porter Jr., Paul Millsap, and Nikola Jokic. Taking on De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, Marvin Bagley, and Rashawn Holmes. Chat, I muted my Discord mic. Take a shot every time Raj calls him De'Aaron Fox. Raj, Nikola Jokic, 10.3K on FanDuel. He's been on an absolute monstrous tear to start the season. There might be concerns about back-to-back splits, but I feel like he was just fine. Nikola Jokic, DKP by game log on night 2 of a back-to-back last 20 games. And see what pops up. 40, 50, not enough to run me off the court here. So, Raj, knee-jerk reaction for players for this game in your player pool.
Keep playing Jokic till he cools down. He's on an absolute tear.
Mm-hmm.
He might not cool down. Just play him every day. Gives you that triple-double upside. Maybe the best passing big man ever. Other than him, I'm not too comfortable with any of these Denver guys. You have Porter Jr., if he gets the minutes, sure, he can get there for you at 6,400. If he sees 30 minutes, he can get you 40+. Jamal Murray. I mean, one of these games, Jokic is going to have a down game while Jamal Murray has that explosion game.
I would say Murray on FanDuel 66 is starting to get a little bit, maybe.
Gotcha. Yeah, don't hate that. And then on the Sacramento side, De'Aaron Fox, 7,600, a bit of a tough price tag.
Who?
De'Aaron. Uh-huh. You know Fox.
Yeah. Okay.
So Fox, I mean, he gives you mid-40s. Guys at that 7,600 price range, you want to have kind of those 50, 55-point games. He'll give you 40. So, I mean, he's safe, I would say. He'll probably get there for you. Come off a really bad game, but should be fine, but not running to play him. I think Buddy Hield has some upside. 6,800. He can get hot from 3. So if you want to take a shot on him, get you 40+. Don't hate it.
Jokic late night hammer for me last night was so much fun. 10.2, 10.3. You start looking at these 10K guys, especially when we talked about the game theory behind Giannis. Like, am I just taking 50 from Jokic on a bad day and perhaps 60+ on a great day? Like, is Jokic tier 1 for you?
We mentioned Westbrook. Mentioned Bam. Mentioned Giannis. Probably Curry's there. Is he tier 1? That's tough. I don't think he's tier 1, but I probably want like 20%.
So I mean, look at the center spot. Are we playing Jokic over Embiid? I probably am. Jokic, I mean, he's 1,300 more than Drummond. I'm probably leaning Jokic. I just love me some Jokic, man.
He's been getting there. He's literally won in all 3 slates.
Like, Jesus, 72, 51, 74. I mean, yeah, there's an OT game in there, but do I just take 50 to 60 here as a late night hammer? Like, I think I do. Maybe the back-to-back's enough to, like, suppress it. But the thing is, every slate, no one's playing Jokic. I had Jokic at, like, 20% last night. Like, people just don't play Jokic right now.
I'd say the biggest slate, too, with some names. I mean, he might come in at less than 15%.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, this is so we look at that 10 p.m. slate of games for our late night hammer candidates. There is an awkward 2-hour gap between the Thunder game and then, like, there's the Clippers T-Wolves, blowout potential, the Suns and Pelicans, tight spread there, and then another 2-point spread here for the Kings and Nuggets.
I mean,
game,
that Chris Paul Jokic late night hammer.
Right. Remember these two teams played so tough. It was the Nuggets and Kings, right? Went to OT. Yeah. They played very, very tough. So, like, it should still be competitive. There should be some revenge in mind for the Nuggets here. So I'm all about Jokic. I really am. Millsap on a back-to-back. Do you think if there's any less minutes for him to push more minutes for Michael Porter Jr., who's really, really cheap on both sides? I thought last night that he would get as much minutes as his heart could desire without the possibility of getting benched for defensive reasons. 24 minutes of blowout. I guess he was on pace to be fine. I still think there's meat on the bone for him. So, I like this game. I at least like the Nuggets side. I think the King side's a little bit tougher to kind of sift through. Chat, let's see what you guys got before we get out of here. 53 likes, man. Come on. Can we get to 70? 70 likes? That would be so amazing. We talked about D'Lo yet. Yeah, Rod's kind of talked about liking D'Angelo Russell. I think
Kawhi sense he's a lock.
Yeah, I think the stipulation there is if Kawhi's out. Who the freak is De'Arian?
De'Arian. It's the same Arian.
Before I muted Discord, right? And I was like, chat, take a shot every time he said De'Arian. It's De'Aaron. Aaron. Put a D in front of it. De'Aaron. It's that simple, Raj.
We all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. How many points did Porter pick up in OT that game? We could find out. So let's go to opening night. Denver Nuggets, Sacramento. And Michael Porter Jr., he got 1 shot, 1 assist, 1 block. So he didn't go nuts in overtime. I need to be drunk before the games come on to soften the blow of my losses. Ouch, though. Ouch. Anyway, chat. What's tomorrow's schedule looking like? NBA schedule. Big slate here, so I'm hoping maybe tomorrow we get a more medium-sized slate. Is tomorrow New Year's Eve, or is it 31 days? There's 31 days, right?
31.
So tomorrow's a 6-game slate. Wheelhouse slate, 6:30. So that'll push the live stream back an hour. So instead of 3 p.m. Eastern, it'll be 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. And then we have a little bit later lock to deal with. I love the 6-game slates. Heat and Bucks are back-to-backing it looks like. Who else? Celtics are on a back-to-back. Clippers. And that's it. So a couple teams are on night 1 tonight. And we'll chop that up tomorrow right here on the channel. I meant to put up a video today, but we were sweating a tournament. We won the tournament last night. So I just kind of got distracted. But I'll try and get us a video, a Core Picks video to start you guys off in the morning. Anything else in the chat before we get out of here? Z-Murph says, Toscano from the Warriors starting. What do you think? I think that's not really going to impact my approach. We've seen Toscano draw the start against the Nets, I believe, the second half. They kind of bench Pascal. It is what it is. Like, if he hits, he hits. Sorry, are you a pro? Am I a pro? Or is he talking to me? Or he's talking to Celia? He's talking to Celia. Okay. Don't talk like you never lost. Please get out of here with that. What is happening? I don't know what's happening. Anyway, if you guys got anything else for me, twitter.com/GundeckerSports. Like I said, hit that thumbs up on your way out. I appreciate you guys watching every day as usual. We are pushing live viewership records every day. I love you guys for showing some love, showing support. I hope you guys crush it tonight. Show me them screenshots on Twitter, in the Discord. I'm going to be in the VIP voice chat in 30 minutes talking this slate as we get up the lock, making my player pool, adjusting my projections, all that good stuff. So I'll see you guys on the flip side. As always, good luck.